Hey everybody, we've got a review of the Infinite Discs Sphinx. We are testing out multiple plastics. You are currently looking at their G Blend plastic, which is very similar or is exactly similar to the G Star plastic from Innova. Infinite Discs molds are made by Innova, so there's a similarity there. The particular flight numbers on this one is 96-31. So very similar to a Sidewinder in numbers. 9-speed, easy to grip for anybody's hands, just about power or fan grip. As with G Star plastic, this G Blend plastic has a good amount of gumminess to it, but also a good amount of tact. Very good feel overall. Has some stiffness to it, so it's not overall too gummy, even in the hot weather. Feels relatively light. This one comes in at 168. You can see relatively flat here. There's not much of a triangle or a lift on the bottom of the disc, so it leads you to believe that it's going to fly pretty understable overall. With a lower parting line here, it's probably going to be even more of a negative number than a -3, but we'll see out in the field. We're also testing out the I Blend, which is their proprietary Infinite Blend, the S Blend, which is similar to the Star plastic, and the Splatter S Blend, which is similar to Star plastic with some basically metal flakes inside of it. So let's take these out in the field and see how they perform overall.
All right, we're going to have a treat today. We are throwing the Infinite Discs Sphinx. Sphinx comes in with the stated flight numbers of 9 for the speed, 6 for the glide, -3 for the turn, and 1 for the fade. So for the first time, we are reviewing one mode with 4 different blends. So since we were throwing so many different blends, we see variations in the flight just between these first shots. Here we're going with the S Blend, which for me is going to fall in the middle of the spectrum as far as the flight numbers go for this disc. Now I say the stated flight numbers because in my honest opinion the numbers are going to change mainly depending on the blend. As we see some of these shots, you're going to see varying degrees of fade, and that is the main difference between the blends. You can say the same thing across all manufacturers basically, that the flights are going to be slightly different based on the plastic that's the disc is in. Now the Splatter S Blend for me is going to be the more stable of the blends that we're throwing here on this test. Just a little bit more stable than this S Blend here. Both of these were turnover shots. You can see the S Blend went further out to the right. Not a lot of wind today, so we're really getting some good raw flight numbers. In the order of stability for me, the I Blend is the most true to the stated flight numbers. As we move up, the G Blend is going to be the next in stability, with the S Blend, and then the Splatter Blend being the more stable of the blends that we're throwing today. And for me, the flight numbers are more like a 9, 6, 2, 1.5. Again, the G is a little bit more stable than I was expecting a G Blend to be. You can see here that S, although it didn't get up very high, it stayed very straight. This is a different S on more of a turnover type line, and the stability is there when you get into the stiffer plastics. This again is the G Blend. And again, that was a nice move to the right. And we see the S makes the same move, but it comes back in just a little bit sooner and just a little bit harder. Again, this is a different S, but we can see the same type of flight with it. Now, I'm a fan of Infinite Disc listing what run and how many of that run actually on the disc. So when you fall in love with the flight of a disc, you can rest assured that you can find the right disc to replace that flight based off of the weight, the blend, and the run. And as you see from this angle, we can get a nice turnover with a nice smooth landing.
All right, we've got the Sphinx in the field, starting off with this Splatter S Blend, which is more of a straighter version of the Sphinx. It's got a little bit more stability to it, but you can see there, throwing it on some hyzer, it's gonna flip up and get a little bit of ride. This eye blend is generally a little bit more understable. However, if you throw it on the hyzer and you back off of it enough, you see it's gonna glide and continue to hold that line. Now the S blend itself, great for turnover lines, will give you just a little bit of fight back at the end. Again, we're gonna see the eye blend here, and this is normally what you can kind of expect to see from the eye blend. Just a nice 70% power shot, flips up straight. You'll get some turn out of it here if you get a little bit more on it like that, and it'll just ride that right hand the whole time and just give you a subtle fade, just kind of falls out of the air more than fades really. The Splatter S Blend, very, very straight, very much point and shoot. I know that's very cliche to say, but this is absolutely an accurate description for what this disc can do. The S Blend overall, this particular one that I had is a little bit of max weight, I believe it's 174 or 175, and lets you shot shape pretty well. You can throw some antes with it and it'll kind of fight its way back out. The G Blend is one of the more understable ones. This one I think came in at 168, but again, just a hyzer flip and let it kind of fight its way back out. The eye blends, you get these really nice subtle right hand turns. And if you get on these enough, you can get that right hand movement even with the Splatter S Blend. But for me, the Splatter S Blend is just so straight and will also hold some hyzer. Obviously not a super powered hyzer because of that -3.1. But the G Blend here, as you can see, if you throw it on hyzer, it can flip up and just kind of turn on you and get that right hand movement. But overall, this shot right here, just a straight flip up with a nice straight finish and a just subtle drop out of the sky at the end is what you can expect here. You can throw some rollers. The G Blend here, the camera kind of had a hard time picking it up because of the sand, but just got it down and let it roll and do its thing. Just get past the cones there. And again, the cones are set to 200, 300 feet. I wouldn't recommend forehands per se, unless you're really just kind of hyzer flipping one and just something in the woods like that. But overall, that shot right there, flip up, dead straight, goes, and glides. I mean, this thing gets a ton of glide. I was getting some of these out well past the 350 mark and not having to really get on it and hammer it to get it there. You'll be able to shot shape, you'll get that right hand turn, you'll get the straight shot. If you back off of it, you can get it to maintain hyzer. I mean, the shots you can throw are pretty much endless with this disc. For our rating system, we believe that there is no such thing as a bad disc. So we will rate this disc based on our individual experience with it and how it fits to our game, whether it's in the basket, in the bag, in the trunk, or in the garage. The Infinite Discs Sphinx is getting a final rating of in the basket. I believe this is the first official in the basket rating that I've given a disc besides the EMAC Truth when we did our Pure Truth Challenge. Infinite Disc has an absolute winner in this particular mold. If you've thrown a Sidewinder before, like I said, this disc will feel very familiar, but with the different plastics that are available, this disc will hold multiple shot angles and lines in your bag. For me, it's taken over the majority of my fairway driver slot in my bag. Right now, I'm currently bagging 4 different Sphinx and different plastics: the I Blend, the S Blend, the Metal Flake C Blend, and the G Blend. They hold different shots and different lines for me accurately every time. I'm incredibly confident when I have this disc in my hand. It's a feeling that very few discs have given me, like the EMAC Truth. I mean, I think anybody that likes the Sidewinder or the Heat from Discraft will definitely fall in love with this disc. It's very versatile. It is a bit touchy, obviously, into headwind because it is a bit understable, but depending on the plastics that you have, wind is not always a determining factor. So for me, because this disc has filled so many slots for me and has pretty much almost had my fairway driver game on lockdown, there's no doubt for me, this disc is in the basket.
The Sphinx is getting a rating of in the basket. Say what? Yes, in the basket, and here's why. All of my basket rated discs have been versatile but dependable. I see this mode being different things for different levels of players. At first, when I threw it, it was like, well, this is going to be a long, sneaky distance driver, which it has the ability to be, but after moving off the field and onto the course, I saw its versatility as a control driver. The more I played with the different blends, the more I saw what it's capable of. In the field and needing a long turning ante, there's a Sphinx for that. In the woods and you need a little move to the right, but just slight, there's a Sphinx for that. If you're in need of that flip to flat with a move to the right, there's a Sphinx for that. And if you need that strong spike hyzer or skipping flare shot, there is another disc for that, buddy. That's not happening with this mode. But for all of your control shots that are just out of reach of a good throwing putter or mid, the Sphinx will measure up. Your only challenge is finding the right blend in the right run. But outside of that, just put it in a basket.
We here at Ace Run Productions want to give a very special thank you to Infinite Discs. They supplied us with the disc that you saw during this review video. The link in the description will take you right to that disc if you're looking to pick one up today. Head on over to infinitedisc.com for all your disc golf needs.